I thought I had a perfect marriage. 7 years with Jessica, a beautiful home in suburban Boston, and successful careers. Me as a software engineer, her as a marketing executive. We were the couple everyone envied. Until that ordinary Tuesday evening when everything changed. I was preparing dinner when Jessica walked in, suitcase in hand, her eyes cold as ice. "Christian, I am moving out tonight. Do not call me again." My heart stopped, but I just nodded and said, "Fine." She did not know what I would do next. Before I tell you what happened next, let me know where you are watching from and hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you want to see how I handled what came after her bombshell announcement. Jessica and I met at my college friend Brian's wedding 6 years ago. I noticed her immediately across the reception hall. She was wearing a royal blue dress that made her stand out among the sea of pastels. When our eyes met, there was an instant connection that I could not explain. By the end of the night, we had exchanged numbers, and 3 days later, we had our first date at a small Italian restaurant downtown. Our relationship progressed quickly. After just 3 months, we were spending every weekend together. By 6 months, we were discussing our future. At the 9-month mark, I proposed during a surprise weekend trip to Vermont. The autumn leaves created the perfect backdrop as I got down on one knee. Jessica cried as she said yes. Our wedding followed 3 months later, a simple but elegant ceremony with 60 of our closest friends and family. We built what I thought was a dream life together. We purchased our first home in a quiet Boston suburb with good schools and friendly neighbors. Both our careers flourished. I received 2 promotions at my software company, while Jessica climbed the corporate ladder at her marketing firm. We talked about having children soon, even began converting the spare bedroom into a potential nursery. Everything seemed perfect on the surface. The first signs of trouble appeared about 4 months before she left. Subtle changes that I noticed but dismissed at first. Jessica started coming home later than usual. Her typical 6 o'clock arrival stretched to 7, then 8, with vague explanations about work events or traffic. Her phone became an extension of her hand, and she would take calls in another room, speaking in hushed tones. When I would enter, the conversation would abruptly end. Our intimacy began to fade. The passionate kisses goodbye transformed into quick pecks, then eventually just verbal goodbyes. Our weekend mornings in bed became solo breakfasts as Jessica claimed she needed to run errands or meet friends for early brunches. I was never invited to join. Her shopping habits changed dramatically too. New designer clothes and expensive jewelry appeared in our closet. When I asked about the costs, she brushed off my concerns with comments about deserving to treat herself after her hard work. Our credit card statements showed charges at high-end stores I had never heard of before. Our conversations became increasingly distant. Topics that once led to hours of engaging discussion now received one-word responses. When I would ask about her day, her answers became generic and brief. Fine. Busy. The usual. The woman who once shared every detail of her meetings and colleagues became a stranger who barely maintained eye contact during dinner. I tried everything to fix whatever was broken between us. I planned special date nights, recreating our first dates. I suggested couples counseling, researching the best therapists in our area. I initiated heart-to-heart conversations, asking directly what had changed and how I could make things better. Each attempt was met with the same response. There was nothing wrong. I was overthinking things. She was just tired from work. Despite my efforts, the distance between us grew wider every day. I found myself living with a roommate rather than a wife. We moved through our house like ghosts, occupying the same space, but barely acknowledging each other. I began to doubt myself, wondering if I was imagining problems where none existed. Maybe this was just what happened to marriages after the honeymoon phase faded. Then came that Tuesday. I had left work early to prepare her favorite meal, hoping to reconnect over dinner. I was chopping vegetables when I heard the front door open. Jessica appeared in the kitchen doorway, not with her usual briefcase, but with a suitcase. Her face was composed, emotionless. "Christian, I am moving out tonight. Do not call me again," she said, without preamble. The knife in my hand froze midair. My mind raced with questions, but my face remained calm. "Fine," I replied, the single word, masking the confusion and pain exploding inside me. I watched as she turned and walked out the door without another word or backward glance. After Jessica left, I stood motionless in our kitchen. The vegetables on the cutting board dried out as minutes turned to hours. When I finally moved, I knocked over a wine glass, watching it shatter on our tile floor. The broken pieces seemed appropriate somehow. That night, I wandered through our house like a ghost, touching photos on the walls, remembering moments that now seemed like lies. In our bathroom, I found her wedding ring placed deliberately on the counter, a silent statement that needed no words. The closet told another story, half empty now, with bare hangers, where her expensive clothes once hung. Her dresser drawers pulled out slightly emptied of anything valuable or meaningful. I tried calling her phone repeatedly, each attempt going straight to voicemail. My text messages showed as delivered but remained unanswered. With each passing hour, my confusion transformed into a heaviness that settled in my chest, making it difficult to breathe. Sleep never came that night. Instead, I scrolled through our digital history on my phone, vacation photos from last summer holiday celebrations, with family random selfies on weekend outings, all showing a smiling couple that looked genuinely happy. Was it all an act? Had I been blind to something fundamental breaking between us? The next morning brought painful revelations. I checked our joint accounts to find large hotel charges in Boston just 20 minutes from our home. The Four Seasons charged 3 times in the past month. We had never stayed there together. A quick call to the bank revealed more restaurant bills for 2 at upscale places. I had never visited charges for expensive champagne room service. All with timestamps during her supposed late nights at work. My hands shook as I logged into our phone account. Jessica had forgotten that I could access her text message logs. A name appeared repeatedly over the past 4 months, Derek. Hundreds of messages, often late at night or during work hours. The content was not visible, but the pattern was clear. This was no sudden decision. She had been planning her exit for weeks, maybe months. That afternoon, my phone rang. It was Thomas, one of our mutual friends. "Christian, man, I need to tell you something." His voice sounded strained. "I saw Jessica last month with some guy at Carbone. They were. It was obvious they were together. I should have told you sooner. I just did not know how." His confession opened a floodgate. By evening, 3 more friends had called with similar stories. The most painful was from Allison, a friend since college. "I knew about Derek," she admitted after I confronted her. "Jessica swore it was just a fling that would blow over. She made me promise not to tell you. I am so sorry, Christian. I should have warned you." The financial discoveries came next. Our joint savings account, meant for a future down payment on a vacation home, had been systematically drained over the past 6 weeks. Not emptied completely, which would have triggered my attention, but reduced by just enough each week to accumulate a significant sum without raising alarms. The credit card statements showed more disturbing patterns: expensive jewelry purchases, designer clothing, far beyond our agreed budget. Even a weekend spa retreat for 2 while I was at a conference in Chicago. The pain transformed into something physical. My appetite disappeared completely. Sleep came in brief, restless intervals, always interrupted by new realizations or questions. Dark circles formed under my eyes. My boss called, concerned about my absence from work and the quality of my recent projects. Everything felt insignificant compared to the collapse of my reality. On the 3rd day, Jessica finally called. Not to explain or apologize, but to demand access to collect more of her belongings. "I will be coming by tomorrow at 2. I need my jewelry box and the rest of my winter clothes," she said, without greeting. "Jessica, can we please talk about what happened? I deserve some explanation," I pleaded, hating the desperation in my voice. "There is nothing to discuss. The marriage is over," she replied coldly. 7 years together, and that is all you have to say? Her laugh was unfamiliar, harsh. 7 years wasted, you mean? I outgrew you, Christian. I need someone who can match my ambition, my lifestyle, not someone content with mediocrity. The phone call ended with me staring at the screen, her words ringing in my ears. Mediocrity. The term felt like a slap. I had built a successful career, maintained our home, supported her dreams without hesitation. Somehow, without my knowledge, I had been reclassified as insufficient. The breaking point came unexpectedly on day 5. A text message from Jessica appeared on my phone while I was attempting to focus on work. "Need access to our investment accounts. Send login details. As soon as possible." No greeting. No acknowledgement of the destruction she had left in her wake. Just a demand for more resources. Something inside me shifted like tectonic plates realigning after an earthquake. I Googled her new lover out of morbid curiosity. Derek Lawson. executive at a rival marketing firm. 15 years older than Jessica, recently divorced himself. His social media showed a man obsessed with status symbols, exotic cars, luxury watches, private club memberships. A photo posted 3 days ago showed him with his arm around Jessica at an upscale restaurant. The caption read, "New beginnings with this amazing woman." The timestamp matched a charge on our joint credit card. She was funding their romantic evening with my money. Further investigation revealed emails in our shared computer carelessly left logged in. Messages between Jessica and Derek dating back 5 months. Plans carefully laid. Advice from him on how to maximize what she could take from our marriage. A calculated exit strategy, with dates, financial goals, even scripts for what to tell friends and family. In one particularly painful email, she wrote, "Christian suspects nothing. He is too trusting, too focused on our supposed happiness to notice what is happening. Another month of transfers should give us enough to start our new life together." Clarity washed over me, like ice water. This was not a relationship that had naturally faded. This was betrayal meticulously planned and executed while I worked to save something that she had already discarded. I called Margaret Williams, a divorce attorney recommended by a colleague who had gone through a similar situation. Within hours, I was sitting in her office documents spread across her desk. "This is actually good news," Margaret said after reviewing the evidence. "The documented affair and financial misconduct will work in your favor, but we need to act quickly before more assets disappear." That afternoon, I took back control of my life. I contacted our credit card companies and canceled every joint card, removing Jessica as an authorized user. I called our bank and froze the joint accounts, providing documentation of the suspicious withdrawals. I changed all passwords to our investment portfolios and retirement accounts. By evening, I had filed for divorce citing infidelity and financial misconduct. The locksmith arrived at 6, replacing every lock on our home. I packed her remaining items neatly into boxes, placed them in the garage, and texted her that she could collect them the following day with proper identification. The response was immediate and explosive. My phone rang repeatedly, Jessica's name flashing on the screen. When I finally answered, her voice was unrecognizable, shrill with panic. "What did you do? My cards are declined everywhere. I was in the middle of dinner with important clients. I protected what is legally mine until the courts decide otherwise," I replied calmly. "The joint accounts and cards have been frozen due to suspicious activity." "You cannot do this to me," she screamed. "I need that money. You need to speak with my attorney now. Her information has been emailed to you." Her threats escalated, becoming increasingly desperate. "I will destroy you for this. I will tell everyone you were abusive, controlling. Nobody will believe your side." "The evidence suggests otherwise," I responded, surprising myself with my steadiness. "The bank records, hotel receipts, and text logs tell a very clear story." The confrontation at our house came the next day. I was working from home when a car I did not recognize pulled into the driveway. Jessica emerged from the passenger side, followed by Derek from the driver's seat. Through the window, I watched them approach, noting how different she looked. Designer clothes, new hairstyle, heavy makeup, a stranger wearing my wife's face. The doorbell rang repeatedly, followed by aggressive knocking. I opened the door but blocked the entrance with my body. "Your belongings are in the garage," I stated. "The code is your birthday." Jessica attempted to push past me. "I need to come in. There are other things I want." "No," I replied simply. "The house is no longer accessible to you. Your name is still on the deed, but the court has granted me exclusive use until the divorce is finalized." Derek stepped forward, his expensive suit failing to mask his obvious discomfort. "Listen, man, this does not need to get ugly. Just let her get what she wants, and we can all move on." "I am not your man," I replied, making direct eye contact. "And this became ugly the moment you decided to pursue a married woman and help her steal from her husband." The situation escalated quickly. Jessica demanded money, access to the house, additional belongings. When I continued to refuse, she threatened to call the police. I encouraged her to do so. When the officers arrived, 20 minutes later, I provided them with copies of the temporary court order, the evidence of financial misconduct, and my attorney's contact information. They reviewed the documents, spoke briefly to Jessica, and Derek then informed them that they needed to leave the property. "This is not over," Jessica screamed as the police escorted her back to the car. "You will regret this, Christian. You are nothing without me." I watched from the doorway as they drove away, Jessica still shouting things I could no longer hear. For the first time in days, I felt something close to peace. The worst had happened. She had left. She had betrayed me. And I had survived. That night, I slept without interruption for 8 hours straight. The weight had not disappeared, but it had shifted, somehow becoming manageable. I was taking back control, one decision at a time. The weeks following the confrontation blended together in a blur of legal meetings, paperwork, and gradual healing. My attorney proved worth every penny, methodically building our case while protecting what remained of our assets. Friends rallied around me once the full story emerged. My parents flew in from Arizona, filling our house with home-cooked meals and quiet support. The divorce proceedings moved forward with surprising speed. The evidence was overwhelmingly in my favor, leaving little room for Jessica to contest the terms. Her attorney reached out multiple times seeking settlements, each offer more reasonable than the last. Margaret advised patience, knowing our position strengthened with each passing day. I threw myself into self-improvement. Therapy sessions twice weekly helped process the betrayal and examine patterns I might have missed. I reconnected with old friends Jessica had subtly pushed away during our marriage. My abandoned gym membership was renewed, physical exertion becoming a healthy channel for lingering anger. Work became a refuge rather than a burden, my focus sharper than it had been in years. 32 days after she walked out, Jessica appeared at my door alone. Gone were the designer clothes and confident posture. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her hair pulled back carelessly. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice small. Against my better judgment, I invited her in, making sure to leave the front door open. We sat at the kitchen table, two strangers with shared history. "Derek left me," she confessed, tears forming. "Once the money ran out, once he realized there would not be a big divorce settlement, he lost interest. He was already seeing someone else. I was just disposable. I made a terrible mistake, Christian. I threw away something real and valuable for something that was never going to last. I miss our life together. I miss you. We could try again, start fresh. I know I hurt you, but people deserve second chances, right?" I studied her face, searching for the woman I had loved for 7 years. I could see glimpses of her beneath the desperation, but too much had been revealed. "I forgive you, Jessica," I said finally. "I need to forgive you for my own peace. But forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. Some things cannot be undone." "You do not mean that," she whispered. "We built a life together. 7 years cannot just disappear." "They did not disappear," I corrected gently. "They ended. You ended them with clear intention. The divorce will be final next month. I wish you well, but my future does not include you." She left with renewed tears, but I felt no satisfaction in her pain. There was only a calm certainty that I was making the right choice for my well-being. The healing continued in unexpected ways. I sold our house too, filled with memories, to remain comfortable. The new condo downtown represented a fresh start. I reconnected with hobbies Jessica had dismissed as wastes of time: photography, hiking, community theater. My circle of friends expanded, introducing new perspectives and experiences into my life. 6 months after Jessica's departure, the divorce was finalized. My attorney called with congratulations, but the moment felt more solemn than celebratory. A chapter closed permanently. Jessica's attempts at reconciliation continued sporadically. Texts on birthdays and holidays. Small gifts delivered to my office. Each time I responded with polite but firm boundaries. Eventually, the frequency diminished, then stopped altogether. Almost 1 year to the day after she walked out, I encountered Jessica at a coffee shop downtown. She was alone, dressed simply, her expression softening with recognition. We exchanged brief pleasantries, the awkwardness gradually giving way to a strange civility. "You look well," she noted. "Happy even." "I am," I confirmed. And it was true. "I never thought you would be the one to walk away permanently," she admitted. "I always saw you as dependable. Someone who would always be there no matter what." That was the problem, I realized aloud. "You counted on my forgiveness without earning it. You mistook loyalty for weakness." She nodded slowly. "I learned too late what real love looks like. By then you had moved on." Our conversation ended amicably, but as I watched her leave, I felt the final pieces of our shared past detach completely. The experience had changed me fundamentally. I had learned painful but necessary lessons about self-respect and boundaries. I understood now that authentic relationships require mutual investment and honesty. Most importantly, I discovered my own resilience, an inner strength that emerged only when everything familiar was stripped away. Today, I am grateful for the painful journey. It forced growth that comfort would never have inspired. I approach new relationships with both wisdom and openness, including a promising connection with someone whose honesty and kindness arrive without conditions. The betrayal that once defined me has become simply part of my story, not its conclusion. Have you ever found unexpected strength after betrayal? Share your experience in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear that healing is possible even after the deepest betrayals. Thank you for listening to my journey, and remember that sometimes losing what you thought you needed makes room for what you truly deserve.